It's Friday, September 12th, and this is the Echo Press Newsminute for the week of September 7th through the 13th. I'm Lisa Johnson. Here are the top stories in Wednesday's issue. Copper Trail Brewing Company saw a lot of activity over the weekend as the site of the 9th annual Olitoberfest, which was held September 5th through the 7th. The weekend featured a variety of activities, including a pancake feed sponsored by Cisco, a Stein holding contest, a Stein keg race, and a cornhole tournament, a hot dog eating contest, and a best dressed competition. There was also a kids coloring contest sponsored by Cherry Street Books. Funds generated over the weekend will go toward the preservation of Big Ole. Attendees also had a chance to vote on Big Ole's next hair and beard color. A plan to reconstruct Alexandria Airport runway 1331 is turning into a bumpy process. Runway 1331 is the airport's main runway. The Federal Aviation Administration says it will provide funding for reconstructing 75 feet of the runway's 100-foot width, but not the remaining 25 feet. The FAA thinks that cost should be shared between the state and the city of Alexandria. The total estimated cost of the project is $1 million. The state share, 70% of the cost, would amount to $700,000, and the city would cover 30%. But the Minnesota Department of Transportation told the city that a 70-30 split between the city and MnDOT may go down to 50-50, or MnDOT might not provide any funds. That was according to city engineer Brian Yavarow. If this happens, the city will need to fund the entire 25 feet of runway or consider reducing the width from 100 feet to 75 feet. Staff has major concerns about the potential lack of a state funding commitment for our runway project, as it essentially would downsize our primary runway, considered one of the most important pieces of infrastructure in our community, Yavarow told the council. The state is requesting local letters of support, which is in progress. Alamere Health is changing from operating as a health system of Douglas County to a nonprofit corporation, as previously stated in an Echo Press newspaper article. The change comes after several years of review, analysis, and consultation. Tom Schroeder, the attorney for the county, presented information to Douglas County commissioners at their regular board meeting Tuesday, September 2nd. How will this affect employees? According to the resolution passed by commissioners, employees currently take part in the Minnesota Public Employees Retirement Association, and they will be transitioned to industry competitive employee benefits as of the conversion date. A state law approved earlier this year will soon make it much more costly for an employer to leave the PARA system. The law gives government-owned hospitals and nursing facilities until July 1st, 2027 to convert to private nonprofit organizations without a significant penalty. Schroeder talked about the restructuring model of Alamere and how it will be different. As a private nonprofit, Alamere would have a system board which would consist of a majority of private individuals with 2 appointees. A minority of that board would be appointed by the county commissioners, said Schroeder. The 6th annual Taste of Osakis was held September 5th through the 6th, a weekend that was jam-packed with activities. The lineup included a pickleball tournament, puppy yoga, a craft vendor and market show, mini golf, axe throwing, inflatables, a mechanical bull, a beanbag tournament, professional bull riding, and mutton busting. On the musical side of things, Love and Theft, Michael Ray, and Lone Star performed Friday, September 5th. Saturday's concert lineup included Noise Pollution and Kid Kennedy. The Osakis Chamber of Commerce partnered with Kick FM to present the festival, which was presented by First National Bank of Osakis. In life, read about Miles Free, a young Alexandria man who's the kind of guy who makes you wonder just how far he can go in this life. This summer, it was almost 1,500 miles from Alexandria to Panama City Beach, Florida. A literal dash, a DoorDash, if you will, across the country to celebrate his mom and raise money for the American Cancer Society. Free started working for DoorDash, a food delivery service, this spring. I really like the flexibility of it, he says. Then I kind of began to wonder, what if I do it in surrounding areas? What if I start dashing in different states? And then you begin to wonder, is it possible to dash your way across the country, state by state? At the same time, Free was very much aware of an important anniversary, his mom's 10 years of being cancer-free. I'm so grateful that she made it through, he says. She did chemo, she's been cancer-free for 10 years, she's done yearly or semi-yearly checkups, and anytime you get that text that the scans have come back clear, that's always a good text. Did Free complete his journey? Read our life story to find out. In sports, read about the Osaka Silver Streaks football team's home opener. The Silver Streaks took the lead early over the Minnesota Lakers and ended with a 43-15 win. Also read about Alexandria siblings Blake and Chloe Scholl, who look back on a special 2024-2025 year in athletics. They both won state titles in the same year, one in volleyball and one in boys basketball. It's time to pick up your copy of the Echo Press today for great local news coverage. Members, remember to activate your online membership for the expanded daily e-edition. Become a member today, echopress.com/subscribe. The Echo Press, giving information life since 1891. Here are the top stories in Friday's issue. A construction project on 3rd Avenue, State Highway 29, should last through mid-October, according to the Department of Transportation. Work started on September 2nd and saw 3rd Avenue reduced to one lane of traffic in both directions between Broadway and Nokomis Streets. The work began in the outside lanes and will switch about halfway through construction to the inside lanes. Motorists should expect delays and consider alternate routes to avoid backups during peak travel times. That's according to MnDOT's website. There will also be sidewalk restrictions and closures through the work zone with signed pedestrian detour routes. The project aims to improve pedestrian safety on the 7-block section of the street, which sees more than 18,000 vehicles per day and more than 1,000 heavy commercial trucks, also according to MnDOT's website. For the average homeowner, the tax impact per month of Alexandria Public Schools' proposed capital project levy is roughly the cost of 2 name-brand coffees. $10. At least that's what one person said at the end of the Listen and Learn presentation given by Rick Sandsted, Alexandria's superintendent, on Wednesday, September 10th. The Alexandria Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce hosted the Listen and Learn about the capital project's levy that will be on the ballot this November. During the June 16th Alexandria School Board meeting, members unanimously approved a resolution to hold the levy referendum November 4th of 2025. If the levy is approved, the first year's tax impact would be about $10 for the average homeowner based on a $350,000 average valued home. During the presentation, Sandsted said the funds would support safety and security updates, educational technology, and facility maintenance. He also stated that school funding is complex, especially because state and federal funding is unpredictable. Over the last 5 years, because of tight budgets, Alexandria Public Schools reduced expenditures by more than $5 million. Sandsted said the city is looking ahead to make sure there are balanced funds and a balanced budget. Making sure all of the schools are secure is one of the first focus areas if the levy is passed. Here's another major highway project in Alexandria, the 6th Avenue East Improvement Project, but you have a little time. The work isn't scheduled to begin until 2027. The project will take place between Nokomis Street and South McKay Avenue. Right now, 6th Avenue East is 40 feet wide with 2 12-foot lanes and 2 8-foot parking lanes. The proposed work includes street resurfacing, mill and overlay, and construction of a new 8 8-foot wide separate bicycle pedestrian trail along the north side of 6th Avenue. Retaining walls and temporary easements will likely be needed, that according to city engineer Brian Yavaro. The preliminary cost of the project is estimated at just over $1 million. Yavaro noted the project was awarded a carbon reduction program grant of almost $400,000 in federal funding that will cover 80% of the construction cost. The city's share is proposed to be funded through state aid construction funds, he added. The Osaka City Council approved an amended 2025 budget at its meeting Monday night and passed one motion to approve a 5% levy for 2026 and another to approve the 2026 preliminary budget. City Clerk Angela Jacobson says the council realized earlier this year that they needed to make some adjustments to balance the 2025 books. City departments were asked to come up with a list of potential cuts, including capital outlay items, repairs and maintenance, and projects not likely to be done in 2025. The proposed 5% levy for 2026 is not a tax rate. It's a cap on the amount of property tax dollars a local government is allowed by law. City Clerk Angela Jacobson reminded the council that they can lower the levy amount in December when the budget is finalized, but it cannot be raised. One of the reasons for a levy increase is a jump of 12% in the city's insurance cost for employees. Jacobson says she talked with the city's provider, AT Group, who said that many other carriers saw the same increase or higher. Local government aid only went up $1,000, and Jacobson says the increase in the cost of goods and services, along with wages and benefits, contributed to the 5% suggested increase. The 2026 budget will be finalized December 8th at the city's Truth in Taxation hearing and regular meeting. In other action, the council voted to amend the city's snow removal ordinance. In life, you might have missed this blip this summer, a Facebook post about an article in the Minnesota Conservation Volunteer magazine touting the growing trend of fishing for tiny fish. Minnesota is home to about 70 species of microfish, which are classified as weighing under a pound at their full weight. Catching these tiny fish is a growing trend among anglers. It's called microfishing. Accessibility is part of what makes microfishing so popular. There's no need for boats or heavy-duty equipment. You can just step outside and find the nearest pond. And what are they fishing for exactly? Species of tiny fish or little bitty walleyes or muskies? And does it make a difference? Fishing expert Mike Frisch says, not really. There really isn't in my mind. You know, that's the hard thing. I mean, does a tiny fish feel pain? Does a big fish feel pain? I guess that's the thing. We don't really know, but I guess my thing is, if people want to fish for certain fish species, provided it's legal to do that, I don't really have a problem with that. Wait a minute. Is Mike Frisch grappling with animal welfare issues while he's sitting in his boat? It's interesting, he says. I have a Facebook follower who appears at times and kind of gives me a hard time. He feels that fishing is an ego-driven sport and that it's all about look at me and I'll show you what I can catch. And his theory is that fish feel pain and we're harming the fish, and that there's better ways that we can support our ego other than fishing. So I guess I don't know. I'm not sure. My thought is the vast majority of the fish that I catch, I release, some of which may die at a later point from injury or trauma that they suffered as part of the catch. But most of the people I know eat beef and eat chickens and, eat different sources of meat. And do those animals feel pain when they're put down? If they do feel pain, I don't feel good about that. But I'm not going to stop fishing because of it. In sports, the Alexandria Cardinals girls soccer team have had 3 consecutive wins in their last 3 games. On September 4th, they beat Detroit Lake 6-1. They also beat Rocori by 6-1 on Thursday, September 4th, and on Tuesday, September 9th, they took down Fergus Falls with a score of 5-1. According to head coach Luis Moreno, Emma Laurent led the way with her second consecutive hat trick, while Ezrin Dahl added 2 goals of her own. He also said goalkeeper Autumn Struck recorded 3 saves in net. The Cardinals controlled the game from start to finish, dominating possession and keeping consistent pressure on the Otters' defense, said Moreno. Fergus Falls scored their lone goal off a corner, but Alexandria maintained composure and responded with a complete team performance. Opinion page topics for this week include an Echo Press editorial urging drivers to be careful in school zones, another Echo Press editorial about the importance of extracurricular activities for students, an Our Turn column about Vining, a tiny town that holds a big festival, and In the Know column from County Commissioner Jerry Rapp, who talks about a productive meeting he had with legislators, the Echo Press history column, letters to the editor about people blaming guns for shootings, and the Jeffrey Epstein files. I'm Lisa Johnson. This is the Echo Press News Minute for the week of September 7th through the 13th. The Echo Press News Minute is produced by Al Edenloff and Lisa Johnson. The Echo Press, giving information life since 1891.